We must have a rationale for stupidity. Anytime we do something stupid, we first got to convince ourselves that we got to do that stupid thing. So they rationalize, oh, this stud, I'm hipper than this. I won't get cracked. You know, I won't get caught. I won't go to the joint. I won't go to the penitentiary. I won't use drugs. I won't use heroin. I won't get hooked. I won't be a junkie. I'll be cooler, you know? Said the dude is righteous, but I'm more righteous. You know, so I'm more together than this dude. So this dude is old.
Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. As you know, we've been away for a bit here, and my goal for this show is sort of an update on what I think is going to happen with the Cybertruck, as well as the obvious Trump impacts with the tariffs. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy this show, would like some better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So today, I've obviously not put any shows up in the last, let's say, 10 days. The tariff stuff going back and forth is, I thought, fairly impossible to predict. But if you do have the options of the trading desks of the major firms, as we know, they've been making a great deal of money. And congratulations to those of you who have been participant in that. Now, structure of today's show is really, as before, you kind of review what's going on. And then, my sense in terms of predicting what's next. So, to be honest with you, I'm really stunned by the tariff activity because obviously 125% tariffs is going to do nobody any good. As Warren Buffett indicated, a tariff is sort of an act of war, and we're basically moving into the active war zone with China with the height of those tariffs. It is great that he's relaxed other tariffs, even though there are some places like Canada that are punishing based on this. Now, I'd have to say my prediction is that more of the same until, there's more severe market damage. I don't think there's any incentive to stop the tariff process. But I will admit that China has the advantage because we have more products coming in, so there's a lot more tariffs that can be assigned. But I do believe that there's a challenge with the U.S. and the tariffs towards China because, yes, there are things like Boeing that's suffering, but we're not shipping as many things that are easily tariffed. It tends to be services and things that tariffs don't hit as effectively as manufactured products. So overall, I'd have to say I'm glad we've gotten through the initial thrust of the tariffs, and Mr. Trump has gotten a chance to experiment with how much damage might be caused by those tariffs. And now we can start moving into a period where he understands the potential damage that's involved and therefore is incentivized to do less. The one piece that I still am stunned by, cannot believe, is the effort. They're talking about cutting the IRS by 40%. And the question is, if your goal is to increase the amount that's intaken, how are you going to cut the headcount of IRS when you need those people to help collect those taxes? So I'm very surprised by this and don't have a prediction, but I'm hopeful that some kind of plan could be come up with to help government workers that are needed to come back into their jobs. Things like the CDC, the IRS, FAA, some of these agencies really need those people, and we need to make sure they're there because there's a lot of damage that could be done without them. So next, we move on to going forward, what I think might occur. One of the things I've been aggressively watching is what's going on with the Cybertruck. I've been very surprised because, yes, they did have this huge last recall with, I guess, the front glued on piece falling off. But I'm really fascinated by the Cybertruck because there are a lot of people that hate it. When I first saw it, I was kind of stunned. My argument was, if you do a $100,000 vehicle, truck or no, the number of people that can afford it is kind of low. So I've really been looking forward to the 40 to 50K truck, cyber, whatever it is, because there'd be more sold, and therefore that giant factory would have the throughput to make this all worthwhile. So luckily the new Model Y is selling pretty well, so in theory that couldn't, kind of fill up the space for unsold Cybertrucks and help in some way sort of hopefully getting us to break even on that factory, and therefore you'd have profit from the other places. So I'd have to say I'm also kind of stunned right now to see Tesla staying in the 250 range as a stock. This is totally unexpected in my mind and stunning because if you're dropping, 10, 20, 30% of your revenue in different places, even if the overall numbers were down 13%, it just suggests that there's a market resilience that's really unexpected for the stock. And I think that once earnings come out in the next couple of weeks, we actually see the stock staying level to rising, because it seems that we're in the zone right now where a lot of consumers that aren't angry at Elon are actually buying, because Tesla is the best solution in the EV space on a broad range, even if we're seeing amazingly low prices. I just heard about a Plaid that's fairly low miles that was only $40,000, and that's impressive for a vehicle that starts in the $140,000 range. So it's been an adventure, and I think the adventure will continue, unfortunately. And I'm hopeful that some accommodation could be worked out where folks that are experimenting with fire sort of relax a bit and allow us to get back to perhaps something that resembles normal behavior in terms of company operations, governmental operations, anything. But I just think it's been a very difficult time for everyone. And it's really hard to make comments when what we're seeing can change on a daily basis. I will also say that when you're in these volatile environments, all the hedging we've talked about in the past is a good time to think about making sure you're hedged, because it's very unpredictable what might occur. The final thing I'd like to comment on today is just the movement of oil prices. As you know, it's been hovering around 60 plus or minus $2. And OPEC has said they're going to start increasing allocations, especially to Saudi Arabia, which has been holding back production. And I believe that we're going to sniff $55 to $50 oil here. And if we do, that'll help on inflation a bit, but it'll definitely damage the earnings for large numbers of oil companies, et cetera, in the process. So obviously we'll keep you posted on this, but a downward movement of oil prices just seems to be where we're headed. Finally, today we move on to our health tips. Just want to remind you of your 20-minute walk daily and 25 leg lifts daily. Also wanted to encourage you to consider a very light meal like a salad prior to lovemaking, because you have concentration of blood flow to your extremities rather than to your stomach in the process. At any rate, we want to thank you for taking time to join us today. I apologize for the delay in us dropping more information, but as you've seen, it's been rather crazy, and we seem to be starting to calm down, and the experimental economy that we've had going seems to be heading into somewhat of a landing, even though it could flare up at any time, particularly with the Chinese situation that's rather unknown. At any rate, I want to thank you once again for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Just au revoir, le hitro. Zdravstvuyte, ni hao ma. Namaste. And in Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.